Hello, everybody. I think we're finally a go. Boy, we had some power outages, internet outages, and apparently YouTube outages, but we are here finally doing the last broadcast here at the lovely time of 10:17 a.m. on what is actually the last day of the summer session. Um, let's go ahead and get this link to you. Unfortunately, I can only do this once this broadcast begins. I apologize, it's kind of awkward, but uh-oh. Probably closed something out just now that I shouldn't have. But that's what happens. Okay, live broadcast. Make sure we mute that. Go ahead and copy that link there. Put it in the thingy here. Then we send it off. Alright, so you can watch this again at any time. But know that until you get the link. There you go. The link is created. Okay, let's go to something slightly more fun and entertaining. Emphasis on slightly. our last presentation. Oh, an error has occurred. Uh-oh. Hmm. Well, I hope that we're still going then. So I'm just going to forge right on ahead, and if it doesn't take, well, I'll upload the recording of this because I record a copy on my computer as well. So we'll do it that way. And of course, always it wants to do it backwards. Go. Right, so I don't have access to the chat right now at this moment because of the error screen. I do hope those monkeys get around to fixing it. And I'm not being derogatory, that's what the screen says, that they have a team of highly trained monkeys on it. Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and forge ahead. So we're just going to wrap up the session today. Um, and let's just go right onto it. So status on grading. I have viewed all of your, I should say, intro speeches. I have viewed all of your intro speeches. Ugh. All of your informative speeches once. I must have been thinking info and then intro and anyway. Um, so far, I mean, informally, the lowest grade I would give anyone is about a B. About half of you have written comments with actual explanations about what the little breakdown was. But as a group, you are doing fantastic. So even if you don't have a grade recorded yet or written comments, you're doing well. I want you to know that going into this final assignment. You seem to be watching the videos, you're paying attention, you um, are using the workbook as a resource. So it seems like everything's going well. I will provide all feedback for all the informative speeches. Now, this is going to be important because I have more than a couple of you who have asked for an extension on your persuasive speech. You can turn it in later at the time rearranged. Different people have different times that they requested. Um, but don't forget, because all of these are after today, I plan on using the weekend to grade um, these speeches. I've cleared my weekend schedule, which is pretty rare for um, uh, me and my wife. So I've arranged for the grading to be done over the weekend. So if you're turning it in, Saturday evening or Sunday evening, even, um, I will not quite have the time to give you the breakdown written feedback by Monday at 4 p.m. Um, that does not mean I won't give you feedback, but please do know that it's going to come after the grades are released, and you will be assigned a grade for the speech. I will watch it. I usually watch them twice. I will watch them twice. I will rate each area and give you the rating, and then later you can ask me for a written feedback, and I would be happy to do that. But I won't be able to do that um, super, especially if you requested last week to have it due on Sunday. Um, I will not get around to it by Monday at 4 p.m. For the written feedback. I will grade your speech, but I will not be able to give you the paragraph of written feedback for each area. Okay, so far, some whole group feedback on your informative speech. Really, only two areas that I felt were sticking points that hopefully you should look out for. Not a lot of you have turned in your speeches yet, so hopefully we can get some feedback for this, and alter maybe your plan, or look at your recording again and still have time to kind of fix things. But anyway, transitions. First of all, make sure that you have transitions. And by that I mean between your introduction and your first main point, there should be a transition. Between main point 1 and main point 2, there should be a transition. And between whatever number your last main point is, there should also be a transition to the conclusion. Um, so make sure you have signposts, or maybe in today's parlance, to help you think about it, would be maybe trigger words that let people know exactly where you are in their speech. And it clues people into this overwhelming sense that you are moving on to a different idea. So you want to use first, second, third. You can also use transitionary signposts like to begin with, next, also, lastly. As a whole, you guys were pretty great about what we call the internal summaries and internal previews, in which you would say, now that I've talked about the cost of shoes, I would now like to talk about how Tom's Shoes doesn't help uh, people abroad with their shoe program, or their buy one, give one away shoe program. Um, so that would be an example of an internal summary and internal preview. As a group, you guys are doing pretty well on that. But ironically enough, that's all some of you are doing. You need to make sure that people know you're on your second point or your third point, or at the very least that you're moving on with the word next, or also, or lastly, something like that. So please make sure you put the signposts in your transitions. Don't just fall into the rhythm of the internal summary and preview. Got to do all three of those components: signpost, internal summary, and then internal preview. Um, that's my advice for you there. Oral citations, again, um, these are fairly fast, and they take the form of a phrase that you can kind of put prepositions and such in there to make it seem like a phrase. So the component is, let's get my pointer out here, author's name, and again it can be an institution, the publication in which you found the information, the date published, and if not, again, I guess I could have made this more clear on the PowerPoint, but if there is no date published, then do the date copywritten. If there is no date copywritten either, then you can finally just say, I saw this information on whatever day it was that you saw it. So here's a couple examples. Fareed Zakaria in Time Magazine from October 2007. Notice that I don't have the article title in here. I don't need any paragraph numbers or volume numbers. It was just the issue from October of 2007. It also, depending on how your sentence is, where you cite your information, you may want to start the sentence with the citation, in which case you might put like according to ahead of all of this information. Um, or maybe before you put the author's name, you might put the word from, or as stated by, or something like that. Again, that kind of depends on the grammar of the situation, but as the actual citation is concerned, it's just the author's name, publication, and the date, whatever kind of date you can find there. So here's one where the author's name is going to be an institution. Okay. So the FBI's most wanted database, for example, there's not any kind of author listed there. It doesn't say, Agent Jones. It just has, here's the FBI's most wanted database, and that's the website. And so what you would say is, from the FBI, according to the FBI's most wanted database, from their website, access June 16th, 2007. That should have been 2017. I was trying to make it today. I just had 2007 on the brain. I noticed I did that up here too. I was going to have this from the future. Oh well. So that would be how you would do that. So if an author, if there's no like actual person, you can, tell us the institution that published it, in what method they published it, i.e. the publication, and then, whatever date seems appropriate. Okay. So what is still due for the rest of the semester? So you need to get your feedback to your peers about their informative speeches, which is due by tonight at 11:59 p.m. Don't forget you have 3 prompts for the feedback. A couple of you might need to go back and look at your posts. By that I mean, I did notice a couple of people just wrote, "Wow, I really like your speech. It was awesome." And that's great. I mean, keep that in there for the person, but you also need to add at least 2 more things to that post. So please do make sure you complete the post. Um, I know that it sometimes seems like I am disconnected, but I do read every single post that you've posted, and I do read, um, or rather, I do watch all of your speeches. So please make sure you do complete it, because if you're going to lose points on a discussion board, there are 2 ways you could do that. One is by not doing it, and the other one is by not completing it. Basically, if you complete it, you're good. Um, this whole exercise shouldn't take more than an hour to do. I noticed that we have about 21 students in, well, we have 20 students here, and only maybe 16 of you have posted or participated so far in the last couple of activities. So please make sure that you reserve the time to do this tonight. Um, shouldn't take more than an hour, but it is important for you to do because we only had 5 weeks and 4 discussion point assignments. So if you forget this one, that's like a quarter off of one of your major grades. Don't please don't forget. So your persuasive speeches are also due by 11:59 p.m. unless you told me you need more time. And I know that a lot of you are writing me kind of at the last minute, and I understand that. I mean, as you probably noticed with the announcements spam, I have also been suffering from the same kind of storms and issues. I know a couple of you are located out of state, and Illinois and Nebraska. I think it was one of you um, got hit real hard and have been without power for several days. And when we have an online class, I know that that basically stops all of your work. Um, so we can definitely work something out, but you have to let me know somehow. This is just a kind of a friendly note to say that, let me know if you encounter a difficulty, even tonight, if you encounter a difficulty. YouTube seems to be having a problem today. I don't know. I don't know what it is. The monkeys are hopefully on it. I have no idea what the chat's saying or if there's anyone even here, or if the video is even uploading at this moment. That's the condition that YouTube is in. So um, just let me know. Be communicative. Again, delays are acceptable even in the real world as long as you are open and communicative with your boss and supervisor. That's why governments have extensions on tax forms. Why road construction projects, run over time, and all kinds of reasons. As long as people communicate, no one really gets in trouble. So go ahead and communicate any kind of setback you might experience, or even if you anticipate that you might be a little late, go ahead and tell me. It's not like I will be awake at 11:59 p.m. tonight, grading all of your speeches immediately. I will wake up in the morning and then look. I don't know, probably around 8 a.m. So as long as you get it to me tonight, then we should be okay. But if you do anticipate that being a problem, please let me know. Again, many of you have asked for an extension, and I have granted it. Again, do be aware that that means I will be more sluggish than usual with your written feedback. Some last thoughts. As a group, you all did great this semester. I really appreciated it. You showed good thought and preparation of speech topics and assignments. I would challenge anyone to look at your work and compare it to an in-class student over the summer session, and make an argument that somehow it's not as good because it's online. I know a lot of people think that online courses aren't quite as good for teaching speech, but regardless of that internal debate, you've done excellent work, and I would challenge anyone to kind of compare your work to a more traditional class. So that's awesome. You ask questions when necessary, which is awesome. It's great. I should have a busy inbox when I'm an online instructor, and it was fairly busy. So that's awesome, showing that you were engaged in the course. You rolled with the punches of an online class. At least to my knowledge, none of you have expressed explicit frustration that you were enrolled in an online class and that it's been a horrible experience. So that was awesome that you kind of rolled with the, kind of everybody, to my knowledge, almost everybody experienced some kind of delay, either with involving myself or maybe just turning something in, and that's totally understandable. So, and you all did a great job, at least from my perspective, of dealing with those kinds of issues. And you participated pretty well in online discussions. We had people talking in chat. We had people watching the videos. Again, people emailed me with questions. Um, and of course, you helped each other out a lot with your feedback. Especially with the last few discussion boards, you've been participating pretty well. Again, I did notice that maybe there's only 16 out of the 20 of you participating in this last one, so maybe you get that going for the four of you who haven't done it yet. Um, Online classes in general test us on how well we work independently, and from what I can tell, you guys and gals worked really well independently. So that's awesome. That I hope you found a format for courses that fits your schedule and fits your learning style. Um, they do strain our time management even when there is little to do. That first week, I'm definitely going to redesign that very first week for my next summer session. It was a little bit too light, I think, and this I kind of blame my lackadaisical first week together on why we couldn't finish one of the speeches, why we only have three instead of four. But nonetheless, it strains our time management and it challenges us to try to figure out how we can do our work best. And I think that for the most part, you all did excellent at that. And it challenges to solve problems ourselves as the instructor is not as immediate. I try to email everybody within a few hours of their email, especially over the summer. But I noticed there were a couple times where maybe I didn't get to you for a day. And lately, I mean, this week it maybe like 2 days because of just the way the emails fell with the online and storm outage. Um, so I hope that that wasn't too inconvenient. But I did notice that those of you who asked questions and you did a good job implementing my feedback. And you generally did a good job solving problems. I know that many of you probably would have had questions if we were in a traditional classroom setting, but maybe for whatever reason didn't ask, and instead you just kind of experimented and did it, and the result was okay. So I just want you to take some confidence in all these things as you go into this final speech. There isn't really anyone, to be honest, that I'm concerned about not getting credit. I think the grade point average here, I haven't seen the final speeches yet, but I think the grade point average in here is going to be fairly high, and I don't want to count my chickens before they're hatched, but I want to issue you my congratulations for successfully completing a course. It's a tough class. Speech is always a tough class. Um, it's online, which maybe is a different format for sure. Um, and a difficult thing for people to do to talk publicly. I know in general there's a lot of anxiety around that. And as a group, you guys did great. So, um, congratulations. I hope you feel better about public speaking, and I hope you feel better about online courses at the very least. Um, I wish you a good part of your summer. Don't forget those last two assignments, the discussion board and to turn in your persuasive speech. Um, and I'll hopefully, air quotes, see you around. I do teach on campus, so if you're teaching this class on camp, you're online, but you're going to be on campus, you probably will see me around because I teach actually a lot of courses that are required for a lot of majors. So um, I'll be around, and if you want to take another online course, I will probably have an online debate course sometime soon during the regular semester, not the fall, but maybe the spring. Um, and the slower pace there will probably help us out a lot as well. But anyway, thanks again. You all also, I just wanted to say that you are my third ever online section. So I'm a novice at this too. So don't if you feel like things were a little bumpy, that's probably because they were a little bumpy. I'm still trying to figure things out. But you again rolled with the punches and met the challenges of an online class as a group. So I really appreciate that. Anywho, congratulations. Have a great summer. I will, again, air quotes, see you around.